This war in the Middle East could mean a lot of refugees heading north. Huge mass migration of people fleeing war from all the countries affected in the Middle East, coming up to Europe, coming up into America, into Britain. What that could mean then is huge numbers of homeless encampments like this one, springing up all over the place. You're seeing people living rough in tents all over the place. When I do my dog walks, I often see a little encampment like this. Sometimes the council comes and deals with it. Sometimes they have to go somewhere else. I mean, where are they going to go? These people haven't got any money. There's going to be huge swathes of people leaving the Middle East and North Africa and other places. They'll use this as an excuse to come up to Europe, and they'll get through to France. They'll be getting a boat over to Britain, because Britain is supposed to be a soft touch. They'll let anybody in, let you in, give you a hotel, give you a phone, give you money, and you can go and get a job as a delivery courier, like Deliveroo or something like that, Uber Eats or something. And that's what they all think. And that's why everyone wants to get up to the UK. What will this mean in practice? It will mean higher crime levels. I'm not being racist to say that. It will be higher crime, less security, more instability. Things are breaking down in the West. The West is going down the toilet. This war in the Middle East is going to see huge swathes of mass migration from the Middle East and from North Africa up into Europe. And they all want, a lot of them will try to get to the UK, which is quite easy to get to, especially now the weather's getting better, the warmer months. There's loads of boats. I've seen reports of people, they go to North France, the beaches there, they try and get on one of the boats. No, it didn't work, it's overcrowded. Try again, might try for quite a long time. And eventually they get to a boat that they can get on before it's overcrowded and people will fall off. And all those people who fell off will just try and get the next one. All these people, they do make it through to the UK. So where is safe? The title of this video, Nowhere is Safe. And I think that is true. Nowhere on planet Earth, really. There's pros and cons to everywhere. So what other big changes are there going to be? Well, I can see a breakdown of the monetary system, and it's starting. Most people don't know this, that the numbers of people now who are unable to afford their basic cost of living, because of the war in the Middle East, price of energy, fuel, goods, and then everything will go up. Food, fuel, goods and services, everything's going to go up. You're going to see massive rise in the cost of living. We're seeing it now, and it's going to continue. It's going to accelerate with the Straits of Hormuz being called into question. We don't know when the next, like for example, when the next deliveries get you ship something that people have been relying on. You don't know when it's going to come now, and that'll have knock-on consequences right down the line. We're going to see much higher cost of living, and the numbers of people now who are just not paying for their basic goods and services are huge. I'm heavily involved with some of the Telegram groups and helping people, and they say, look, I cannot afford it. They cannot afford, first of all, well, in order of priority, the lowest priority first, like TV license. People can't afford that, and they don't want to watch anything that requires a TV license, so they don't watch it. They don't TV license, and then they start getting nasty letters. They might even get people calling round, and they just do not open the letters. They do not answer the door to anyone. They do not speak to anybody. There's nothing the TV license goons can do. If they will not speak to them, there's nothing that can be done. They will not converse with them. You're under no obligation to converse with anybody that you don't know. Zero obligation. So just don't converse with them. And then people start learning then, hang on, I can just ignore the letters, ignore when someone knocks on the door, don't converse with them, and everything's fine. Just stop paying, everything's fine. And then they start thinking that with council tax. Now the numbers of people who cannot afford council tax now because of the cost of living crisis and are just not paying, they get nasty letters. They might sometimes get the goon squad coming round, but they're learning nothing. I will not speak to them. I will not converse. I will not open the door to anybody I don't know. They just can't pay. Now, some people have made the mistake of calling up the council, say, look, I'm struggling with the cost of living. I can't afford it. And they're trained to say at the council, how much can you afford? Oh, I don't know, I can afford this much per month. Okay, let's make it that. And then they wish they'd said a lower amount. I can only afford like £50 a month or £20 a month. Okay, let's make it that. And you just pay that token amount. Now, the council are going to say, well, this amount is building up. You owe thousands now, back payment. Like in the future, if you can afford it, try and pay that. Nobody's going to be able to pay that. Of course not. The cost of living crisis. But Stacey's World Rocks is a brilliant Telegram group. And so many people, they are teaching in that group to just stop paying council tax. You'll get nasty letters. You might even get people calling around. Do not converse them. Don't do anything. That's what she's saying. And so many people are doing this. The numbers are staggering. It's not going to be reported. You might think it's only a small amount of people. It's huge. So TV license, council tax, then utility bills. Stacey's World Rock says stop paying. It's not me saying this. It's that Telegram group, Stacey's World Rocks. Stop paying utility bills. Stop paying your electricity. Stop paying water. Stop paying gas. Other bills like that. And what happens? You're going to get nasty letters. You're going to get people calling around trying to fit prepaid meters. Do not answer the door to them. Do not converse with anybody you don't know. Didn't your mother ever teach you? Do not talk to strangers. Don't talk to them. And they might come around with a battering ram, a warrant, a break-in. Well, you've got to deal with that. Barricade the door. No, you're not allowed onto this premises. And these are the changes I see coming now. I'm going to predict that the numbers of people who cannot pay these things is growing to a massive amount. And it's kind of a protest. Same with housing costs now. Numbers of people who can't pay the mortgage. There's been some amazing stories on Telegram recently. Someone who didn't pay the mortgage and the bank said we're repossession and they got this bits of paper from the court, but it wasn't genuine. Anyway, they came round, changed the locks, and they barricaded up the place. The guy came home, broke in, changed the locks again, but he kept they put shutters on the windows and all that. And he said, thank you very much, yeah, securing my property. He repossessed it again, moved back in, and secured it even more this time, with other new locks and padlocks and a big grill on the front with a padlock. And it's a civil dispute now. The bank is trying to get possession again. He's in there. And what he's saying is, I think things are breaking down so much. With this war in the Middle East and the mass migration we're going to see in the UK, you just got to hold out until the whole thing collapses. And that's the advice I want to give a lot of people. Some are struggling. They're getting nasty letters. They might even get the goon squad calling round. You owe this much. You owe this. You've just got to hold out. Things are breaking down. Do not fold. Do not give in. You reached a standoff. You've just got to be patient. Hold out. Be strong. Do not answer the door. Do not converse with anyone. Do not answer the phone. Do not open any letters. Do not converse with these people. You've just got to hold out. What I see is a complete breakdown of societal norms. And that is kind of happening now. The numbers of people coming over on small boats. And they do not have the morals. A lot of them. I'm not saying all of them. Some of them are good people. But some of them are bad people. This is factual. I'm not being racist. Some of them are criminals. They're like animals, some of them. I hear some horrific stories of children getting... I'm not going to talk about it because it's just so upsetting. But this is what's happening with the huge numbers of people coming over from North Africa and the Middle East. There are some bad people who should be in prison, but they've escaped going to prison and they come up here and they change their name and they get to the UK and they hear stories, British police are gentle, British government is gentle. If you can say they're being racist, they'll let you go. Or the very light sentence, they've got stories, and I've heard it myself from some of these migrants. They hear stories, British police are very gentle. It's probably true compared to a lot of other countries. They feel they can get away with these things. Now, if you disagree with all the mass amounts of people, the boats coming over, bringing these criminals into the UK, what can you do? Well, there's a mass protest, non-violent protest. I don't think it makes any difference. Protesting with signs, rioting, it doesn't make any difference. Go down there with a big protest with signs. That doesn't. The best thing you can do is what Stacey's World Rocks and other Telegram groups are saying now. Is just stop paying. That's a non-violent, silent protest. Stop paying TV license. Stop paying council tax. Stop paying utility bills, and stop paying other things. And then let's talk about the big one: housing costs. With mortgage, yep, you're going to get the bank giving you a really hard time. It takes a long time though, but you're going to get the heat. And I know some people, my friend Mel Clark, or Mel Kate, she has gone for a really hard time with the bank trying to repossess her, but she's holding out, being strong. Let's talk about renting. What if you are renting and you stop paying rent? What will happen? Well, first of all, think it through carefully, because if your landlord's a cash-strapped landlord, like someone who's really struggling at a small time, do you want to do that to them? They're going to be going crazy. So think through carefully. But what if your landlord is one of the big conglomerates, one of the subsidiaries of BlackRock, Lloyd's, all the big, massive, that is your landlord, and you stop paying? What will happen? You're going to get the goon squad calling round. They're going to bluff. You've got to move out. You've got to move out. We're repossessing the property. And you stand your ground. You do not speak to anybody that you don't know. That is your right, is a human right. You will not converse with anybody you don't know. And even when they're knocking, look at these guys in yellow jackets and they're knocking on the door, they're saying that we're going to come in. They cannot get forceful entry. They cannot. They're going to bluff. And they're going to try to get a court order to right to possession. That takes so long now. It could be 2 years, 2.5 years, and it is growing. If you start now, if somebody stops paying their rent now, 2026, it will be 2028 before they can actually lawfully get a right to possession and have the big proper bailiffs, not the joke bailiffs, the enforcement officers, but the big proper High Court officer bailiffs. They will come in with battering rams if you've barricaded it, and they will try and force you out. But the shortage of those bailiffs, nobody wants to do the job, because there's all these stories on Telegram of the real bailiffs, not the low enforcement officers, but the High Court enforcement officers, the real bailiffs. They've had sewage thrown on them because they hated so much. They've had horrible things happen to them. Nobody wants to do that job, and they're not allowed to be violent. If they're violent, they go to prison. They're not allowed to use force, and they've had sewage thrown on them trying to repossess properties, and nobody wants to do that job. There's a shortage. Who wants to do that job? I would never do that job. What a horrible job. You're turfing out these poor people with young children, turfing them out on the street for the banks, working for the banks who are greedy. I was going to swear then, but I won't. Who wants to do that job? No one. The numbers are small. If your name comes up, it's 2.5 years. If you start now not paying your rent, it will be 2028 by the time you get that they can get these guys round. No, there's a shortage of them. You probably might have to wait another year, maybe. I don't know. It's a long time you have to wait for them to find your name to come up in the queue. There's a massive waiting list. Now imagine if it's a mass protest, lots of people stop paying their TV license, stop paying council tax, stop paying utility bills, stop paying rent if you rent from one of the subsidiaries of BlackRock, one of the big conglomerate companies. This is a really powerful non-violent protest. And I think it is inevitable. It is going to happen. We're just early. If you're doing it now, by 2028, okay, your name has come up no, there's going to be so many more people added to this. There's going to be emergency measures brought in. It's going to be chaos. I think the banks will collapse. The whole system will collapse. You have got nothing to worry about. When the whole system collapses, possession is not 9/10 of the law. Possession is 10/10 of the law. Who knows what will happen? Nobody knows. It could be a massive house price crash, as nobody wants to be a landlord, because there's this movement now to stop paying rent. And some tenants are doing it as part of this non-violent protest against, they don't like what's happening in the world. It's non-violent protest. Some are doing it, they don't even understand about this movement. They're just doing it because they literally cannot afford, after cost of living, they cannot afford to pay their housing costs. People cannot afford it. The take-home points in conclusion, the lessons are: don't own any property. Do not be a property owner. Don't be a landlord. Whatever you do, don't be a landlord. Don't be a property owner. You're much better off renting. You keep a simple life. Keep a simple eye. Stop paying. If you want to join this movement, stop paying all these things. Stop paying. And I think prepare for hard times. If you stop paying your rent now, it'll probably be 2 years before your name comes up in the court. There's lots of things you can do to delay that. AI is helping people to delay the court case, have even longer living in their home rent-free. It's a non-violent protest against all the cunning men and all the suffering that we see from good people in the world. If you'd like to do anything with promissory notes, I would love to help you. Please send me an email. Email's in the description below.